Sarzo. How are you?
I am blessed. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much.
Where are you based out of?
I'm up in Ottawa, Canada.
Oh, wow. Cool. I love it up there. Last
Actually,
time I played there was with Oyster Cult up in Ottawa.
wow. When was
Not
that?
in the city, but 2008 or 9.
Yeah,
with
at that
Meatloaf.
time, I was living in Korea.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've been.
I played there too. Yeah.
Did you? With who?
Quiet Riot. And then I did a show about 3 or 4 years ago with Chris and Pelletieri.
In Busan.
Oh, Busan, yes.
Yeah, I didn't make it to that, but I heard about it was going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So you're doing quite well, I guess. New album, new band, new lease on life.
Yes, it's wonderful. Wonderful. We have a record coming out September 14th. And we have a video that's out for the playing on the radio, which is one of the tracks from the record. And we're doing a bunch of dates. We were just in Canada last week. We played Sarnia, and then we played Medicine Hat.
That's right. How was it? How's the reaction to the new lineup?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, this lineup is not so new. Of course, you got Gary Peterson, the founding member drummer.
Right.
And then you have Leonard Shaw, who's been in the band for like 25 years now. And then you have Derek Sharp, our vocalist, who's been in the group for like 15 years now. And Will Ivankovich, who's been in the band for like 5-7 years now. Then I'm like the new guy. I've been officially in the band for about a year and a half.
You're the rookie.
I'm the new kid on the block.
Are you enjoying it?
I'm loving it. Are you kidding? Yeah. I mean, it's the soundtrack of my life. All those songs, they were amazing. I remember the first time I ever heard Undone, and of course, I was just a kid starting out playing the bass, and I'm trying to like, where do I even start to figure the song out? To transcribe it. Back in the day, we just had the record players, and my mom and dad used to yell at me like, "You're gonna break the record players. Keep playing it over and over again, certain parts of the song." So okay. So what? Flash forward like 50 years later, and it's like I'm playing the song on stage now.
That's amazing.
And now I know how to play it.
Yeah, because back in the day, everything you had to learn by ear.
Yeah, I mean we still do. I mean, to me that's the fastest way of doing it. I hear it and I know music theory, so it's all relative. It's only 12 notes.
That's true. That's true.
So you got a really good percentage of it, that you're going to hit the right one.
Well, you hope so. I wish I could think that way. I miss a lot of those notes.
Yeah, it's only 12. That's it.
Yeah.
So you just keep playing a note until, that's the one. Okay.
Amazing. So tell us about the new album, and I guess take us through it from inception to completion.
Well, you know what? Since I am the new kid, that record, the seed of that record happened before I joined the band. Like, for example, there's 3 bass players on the record, including myself. Mm-hmm. Jim Cale, the founding member bassist, started recording the record, and then at some point, he decided to I'm thinking about retiring. So they started bringing in subs. And one of them was Michael Devin, who is the bassist for Whitesnake. And then I came along. So by the time that I joined the band, there were basically 2 songs left to record.
Okay.
But what I can tell you is that one of the unique elements about the record and the band is that you have 2 very strong producers in the band as band members that made it possible to maintain a vision and a focus of what the sound of the group, the Guess Who, is. And as it moved forward on this record, it's an evolution of that. That was very carefully handled within the band. Will Evankovich, who is one of our guitar players, he just produced the Mission record for Styx.
Oh, I love
along
that
with
record.
Yeah. Well, he's the co-producer with that, along with Tommy Shaw, and he co-wrote that record.
Right.
And so basically, that was the same approach with Styx. They went in there to recreate a '70s album today. They went in there with that same. How was it recorded in the '70s? We're going to approach the song, the harmonies, the way that they were stacked, the way make it sound like a classic Styx record.
Right.
Well, the same approach, even the same studio. They went into Blackbird in Nashville, where the Styx record was recorded. They went in there to record the Guess Who record also. So again, it was that same approach. How can we make this into a classic '70s era recording? So that was the approach. And the beauty of it was that since it was handled within the group, we didn't have to depend on outside sources, such as an outside producer, outside engineers. Everything was kept in, within the group. So it was very a collective vision of that's the outcome of the new record.
So did you record on the old reel-to-reels, or was it digital?
Well, no, we didn't have in the '70s digital.
No, but with the new album, did you record digital or analog?
You know what? Everything was analog, except for the capturing source, which is digital. They do it into Pro Tools, but everything is such as a high sample rate that matches analog. But I do believe that the drums were actually cut analog and then put into Pro Tools, because you can get that compression
right
from the recorded, from the machines.
Sure.
And then dump it back into Pro Tools.
Wow, that's so cool. I was listening to a few cuts this morning. It's really it's really interesting, because it's like you said, it's just a fresh sound to a classic sound.
Mm-hmm.
And I think kudos to everyone who worked on this, because it sounds just like it did in the '70s with a 2018 production.
Yeah, and it did not happen by accident. It was actually that was the goal to achieve that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, this is a tricky question, but what do you say to all those people who say, no Burton Cummings, no Randy Bachman, it can't be the Guess Who? I guess it's similar to what is going on with Quiet Riot right now. No Kevin DuBrow, no Carlos Cavazo, no Rudy Sarzo. It can't be Quiet Riot. What do you have to say to people who bring that up in comment boards?
Yeah, well, the best way I can answer your question is to actually give you the point of view of people who say that about Quiet Riot. And I got to tell you, speaking for myself, I work very hard to help, along with everybody else. Collectively, we work very hard to make the band into a success. And the last thing that I would want to see is to see all that hard work just disappear.
Right.
I am Frankie Banali has been my best friend even before I played with him in Quiet Riot. We have a solid friendship. We are like brothers. I support him. I am his biggest fan. I am Quiet Riot's biggest fan. I was a fan of the band when I first saw them with Randy Rhoads before I joined the band in the '70s.
Right.
So you have to look at the legacy of what does this really mean. And to me I am so glad and thankful that Frankie is carrying on. Just running with that torch.
Right.
The Quiet Riot torch. because it would break my heart to know that music would never get played again. That music will not be shared with the fans ever again, or even new fans get to hear it.
Sure.
Because, like I said, we all really work very hard, and we put our heart and soul into that band.
Yeah, and I wasn't trying to put it down. I mean, I just saw Foreigner not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one guy left in the band from the original, and it was one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. It was absolutely fantastic. And even Judas Priest I saw a while back, same thing. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and then because I know a few of the guys in Foreigner. Those guys are fans of Foreigner before, when growing up. I am a fan of the Guess Who growing up. It's the soundtrack of my life. I'm going to treat it with all the respect and admiration that it deserves. The legacy of the band.
Right.
And that's why I go on stage, and I go on stage with Gary Peterson, the guy who originally recorded those songs. And I know there's only one way to play those songs. I'm not trying to make those songs like if I would have played them. No, I'm going to play those songs as a fan, and I'm going to respect them, and I'm going to play them the only way that they should be played, which is like to perform on the record, the way that they were recorded, And so as long as, in situations like that, as long as the people who all of a sudden become new members of the group, as long as they respect it and are actually fans of those groups, it's all about preserving the legacy.
That's fantastic.
The music.
The way it should be.
The way it should be.
Yeah.
The way it should be.
Now, you've played with everybody. I mean, if I just named a quick list off the top of my head, Quiet Riot, Ozzy, Whitesnake, Dio, Guess Who,
Blue Oyster Cult.
Blue Oyster Cult, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you decide whether it's a good fit for you or not? I mean, you obviously get offers for all these bands.
I got to tell you, it's mutual. It's mutual. When I step in, there's always this certain week or 2 week period that we're feeling each other out, and at some point you say, "Yeah, this feels like home," and it just falls into place.
Do you audition?
I got some. Well, I audition every day. There's no such thing as you got the gig. I mean, you got the gig as long as you don't mess up. You're auditioning every single day.
But what I mean is, initially, is it an audition or just see how we fit together? Because everyone knows your ability and that you can do it.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of how do we blend as individuals and as a group. Is there a chemistry? I play with a lot of great musicians that I get up on stage with, and I don't feel a chemistry. So that chemistry has to be there.
Can you tell right away?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you can't fake it. It's like it's either there or it's not there.
Like when you played with Randy Rhoads for the first time, did you just know that it was a perfect fit?
I knew that he was the perfect guitar player to play with. Then what happens is I had to be, they were a band already.
Right.
They were Quiet Riot. I had to develop myself into becoming the bass player in Quiet Riot. And the best way that I look at it is when I join a band, there's a piece missing in that puzzle. And they usually come in different shapes.
Right.
Not every band has the same puzzle or the same piece is missing. And my job is to adapt myself seamlessly to fill that hole. I cannot overlap. It cannot be like a sloppy job on a wall, that there's a hole in the wall and somebody fills it in and you can tell where the hole still is.
Right.
It has to be like invisible. You just become invisible. That's my goal. And by doing that, you have to study what you're doing. You have to research it. Like, for example, when I was playing with Blue Oyster Cult, I had to learn like 40 songs And I checked everything out. I went to the original recording, thanks to YouTube. I researched that. I listened to the way things were recorded, and then I listened to recent live recordings that they have. And I'm going, okay, so I take the best element. Only because I was not playing with the original drummer. Once I get to play with the original drummer, then it's the foundation. It's you're playing with the real heart, the real pulse of the band. So now I lean more to the way things were recorded to begin with.
Right.
Because it's all, that's the way Gary plays it. There's only one way to play those songs, and it's the right way, just like the record.
A buddy of mine just asked me to play bass in his little cover band, and I'm not a bass player. I'm a intermediate guitar player at best, but I said sure, I'd love to try it. So quickly explain to me what a bass player's role is. It's a tough question, I know, but one thing I've always been impressed about with you is that, this is not a disrespectful thing, but you were never super flashy like Billy Sheehan or Geddy Lee. You were rock bottom. You were solid as a rock. And just kind of wondering your take on what it is a bass player needs to do in a band.
Yeah. And I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. I mean, I'm really good friends with Billy, and I'm a fan of Geddy Lee. But in the case of Geddy Lee, there's a certain sound and a style built around his playing, and everybody else is playing. Like Neil Peart. I mean, if you take Neil Peart and put him in Aerosmith, it's not gonna work.
Right.
Unless Neil Peart decides not to play like Neil Peart, and then what's the point?
Exactly.
Musicians like that, the music that they write is to really showcase their developing talent. Because again, if you compare Geddy Lee in the 70s to Geddy Lee, the last few years, there is a foundation and there's a thread that goes, but it's a progression also.
Right. They
have progressed as musicians, and there's a certain finesse and a certain choice of notes that they make because this is who they are today as musicians. Somebody like Billy Sheehan is very specific, stylized style of playing because that's what he chooses to do. I play with other musicians like that when you get them in the band, this is what you get. They're not going to really adapt to playing like maybe the way that the music was recorded originally. They're going to bring in their own style into, and that's all right because that's why they're there. Right. I grew up playing top 40. I grew up playing anything from Paul Anka, You're Having My Baby, to Smoke on the Water. If it was on the top 40 radio, I played it because those were the gigs that I did, and also mixed with R&B and then later on disco. So at a very early age, I learned to adapt and to play for the song. That was my role. That's how I developed as a musician, and that's what has made me possible to transition from different styles of music, from going to living in Florida, playing disco, to all of a sudden I'm in Los Angeles playing glam rock, which I used to do a bit of that, in the 70s in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and, play Bowie and Mark Bolan and Elton John, whatever,
Right.
But it's I knew how to do that because that was part of my progression as a musician. And then when I play heavy metal, it was actually a very melodic metal. It was the Ozzy early stuff that Bob Daisley recorded. And then I played with Quiet Riot, which was again kind of like glam rock that I was doing before. And then I played with Whitesnake, which was bluesier, and it was just a matter of adapting. And then I played with Dio, which was more metal.
Right, sure.
But it was not something that I had not played in the past. It was kind of like You know, I have a room full of hats, and I just go to that to put on the right hat on. But it has to be the right hat.
Well, sure. Yeah, it would sound pretty funny if you were playing Elton John style with Whitesnake.
Oh, yeah, I know, but you know, Dee Murray was one of the greatest bass players
absolutely.
of all time.
Absolutely.
You know, yeah. I mean, for every reason, choice of notes and his sound. You know, the tone. Tone is so important. You know.
Oh, for sure it is. Yeah. It's amazing. You know, you don't really think about it. You think of bass as bass, but there really is so much going on in so many different styles. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I would say you can if you have a great bass tone and you have average bass skills, your tone is going to carry you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever, you know, I've talked to lots of guitar players and bass players with this website, and they always complain about their tone. Have you ever had the perfect tone?
I am pleased with my tone for the Guess Who right now, but it's been a search. It's been a journey back to my old tones when I was in the 60s and 70s, which is virtually impossible to get now with today's technology because nothing is available, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of it had to do with the instruments. For me to get the tone of the 60s and 70s, I would have to bring out a 60s or 70s musical instrument, which traveling, going on the road with a vintage instrument, it's a crime.
Absolutely.
It would get destroyed or stolen, one of the two.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to depend on replicas, you know, of the vintage instrument now.
Right.
So it's and then we do a lot of flyaway gigs, which means that you never know the condition or the model of the amplifier that's going to show up.
Sure.
You know, so it's but you work with it. I have certain pedals to enhance the tone of it, and we have a tremendous front of the house engineer. So, you know, it gets pretty close. I can say I am pleased. Is it the perfect tone? Unless you're playing through a early 70s Ampeg with a 67 or 69 Fender Jazz, you're going to fall short of your perfect tone. Yeah. In the Guess Who.
Right. Yeah, that was some serious sound they had on those albums back there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they were fantastic. A couple questions that have always interested me. You played at the US Festival.
Yes, sir.
With Quiet Riot.
Yes.
Now, most people are never, ever going to get the chance to stand on a stage in front of, 300,000 people?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many people exactly. It always changes when I read something. But just explain to people what it's like to step onto a stage in front of 300,000 people.
Okay. I looked out into the audience when I'm playing, and I think to myself, what if everybody decides to go to the bathroom at the same time? Literally, that's what I thought. Because you really don't want to be paying attention to you. You know, you want to distract yourself from the fact that you're playing in front of so many people.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't want to concentrate on that. That's gonna work against you. But what does it feel like? I would say it feels just like playing in front of 50,000 people, which feels like playing in front of 15,000 people, which feels for playing in front of 5,000 people, 2,000 people. You always, no matter who shows up, you always have to do your very, very, very best. And if you're doing your very best, there could be 1 million people watching. Now, remember this. Nowadays, every time you step on stage, no matter how many people are in the audience, eventually you're going to be playing in front of 1 million people because somebody's going to be recording it.
That's true.
And it's going to wind up on YouTube. and eventually 1 million people would have watched you, whether you were at your best or at your worst.
But you're not looking at those people. And, especially the footage I've seen, you guys perform during the day, which means you could see everybody.
Yeah.
And
I got to tell you, that was an average, I don't say average, bad. I mean, that was an average quality Quiet Riot show.
Oh, yeah?
We did that every single night. We went out there like it didn't matter. We were going to kill. Whether we're playing in a club or we're opening up for a band, like an arena band, like we had just been opening up for the Scorpions leading up to the US Festival. Then after that, we went on to open up for ZZ Top. It's the same show. You go out there with the same mindset. This is it. It's your Super Bowl, and then you're gonna do the Super Bowl again the next day.
So the number of people don't play any factor into the performance of the band.
No, I mean, to me personally, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, because I have to do my best in front of 1,000 people as much as I have to do my best in front of 350,000.
Yeah. Okay. I was just thinking more about the sheer awe of looking out into a crowd that big.
That will work against you.
So you try and focus on something that will take your mind off it.
You're focusing on your performance. It's like, let's say, I'm pretty sure that let's say you're in an Olympic stadium and you're going to run the 100 meter. Are you going to stand around and go, oh my God, look at all these people? Or are you just going to be like focused, hyper focused on running that race? That's it. Performance.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So what are your plans for the next little while with the Guess Who? How long is the tour going to go? I mean, the album hasn't even come out yet, but
September 14th. Yeah, basically the strategy right now is to set up everything with this record. That's why it was released in September. Set everything up for next year. So right now everything that we do is basically to promote the record. Mm-hmm. So next year we can actually take it to the next level of touring.
Okay, and you're going to do North American tour, world tour?
Everywhere. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's getting incredible response around the world. I'm so pleased with that, because it's all the reviews. I mean, we're talking Europe, South America, Asia, everywhere. Yeah.
Rock and roll's not dead.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not even close. Not even close. No, I don't think it's rock and roll. I mean, it will evolve and mutate into different forms. But so it's the story of humanity. We're not the same human beings we were 1,000 years ago, but we're still here.
We are. Yeah, so is rock and roll. It's not going anywhere.
That's right. They're going anywhere.
Well, listen, I don't want to take too much of your time. I just wanted to end with this. I saw an interview with you on YouTube, wonderful YouTube, where you said you were sleeping on a floor in Kevin DuBro's house, and then all of a sudden you got the call for Ozzy, and you moved into the estate, and you were living in a bungalow on their estate. And I just wanted to pass along, you're still doing it, and you're kicking ass doing it. So, quite a journey, an amazing journey.
I'm still sleeping on the floor. It's my floor, but it's good for your back.
But you know the point.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it's all, sometimes you just have to let go and let God take over,
Yeah, he's taking you on quite a journey. You better come to Ottawa with the Guess Who, because I'm trying to think. I think the last time I saw you live was
Whitesnake.
Slip of the Tongue.
Yeah, I played there. with Whitesnake. It was wonderful. Great memories.
Yeah, I think that's probably the last time I ever saw you live. So that's 25 years ago? More than that.
Yeah, I shrunk a little bit.
But you're still kicking ass on the bass, so keep it up.
That's right.
It doesn't matter how big you are as long as you rock out.
That's right.
Well, listen, Mr. Sarzo, this was absolutely fantastic. I'm the album, it sounds fantastic. Congratulations, and and kick ass on the road, and hopefully we'll see you in Ottawa at some point.
I'm looking forward to it, Kenneth. God bless you.
Oh, we used to hang around